Welcome to another episode of Framework for the Family. Today, our topic is the role of a woman in marriage. Now, last time we talked, we did say we wanted to have a woman's perspective on this, and we're going to definitely have that coming for you. But this time, we're going to discuss it first. We're also going to present what the Bible says, and then we're going to have some women come back and join us for that conversation. Ladies, feel free to comment in the comments below.
And don't forget to subscribe
And like.
hit that like button.
Hit the like button, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the ones who have hit the like button and subscribe.
All right, I just want to present a quick outline, if I may. A few areas that the Bible gives us for the role of a woman in marriage, okay? And just really quickly, we can go over the Bible verses a little later, but helper and partner, right?
Yes.
That's the first one. The second one is a mutual love and submission, and I guess that goes both ways, right? Not just one or the other. Respect and influence, supporting and nurturing, and then also unity. And that's a specific thing I want to discuss it a little bit later. But So what do you think? Should we go from our personal experience? What is it? Let me start this way. What is it that you needed in your relationship, gentlemen?
You want to go with that one, Bomani? You want me to take it?
You take it.
Okay. And again, this is personal experience.
Personal experience.
It's personal. The things that, with me owning, two businesses, it was more of peace, emotional support, being able to connect, or have a connection with my spouse, that even though things are hard right now, you know that she has your back, that she is a support system, she's a nurturer. Men, we're human, and a lot of times, we do wear a thick coat. We have a responsibility as the head of the household. And that is a large responsibility. So in saying that, those are the things that I feel that I needed, and that I need when it comes to having a spouse that can be able to pretty much have my back,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's my turn.
Well, I mean,
What was the
I can
question?
jump ahead of it.
Yeah, go ahead.
What do you? The question is, what do you feel like you needed personally in your relationship from your spouse? So, and I can go first. I mean, for me, I made the transition from working a regular 9-to-5 job, and so in that, my wife was also working, and so there was kind of more of a shared kind of back and forth responsibility for a lot of duties. Now, one thing I never really was great at was cooking, so she took that for me, right? Thank you, thanks, babe. But most of it was shared. But then I transitioned to working for myself, and so number one, my time was a little bit more flexible.
Yeah.
So I took on a number of additional duties, but also there was more additional stress, right? Because there's no paycheck coming.
Right.
There's, so I have to be out constantly producing and doing certain things. And so while my time is generally more flexible, there's more pressure. And in making that transition, me and my wife had these conversations where she didn't really understand that. She would say, well, you're at home. Can you do X, Y, and Z? I said, well, I can't. I've got to do these things. I'm at home, but I'm still working.
Exactly.
Right.
You're not just sitting down at home watching TV. Yeah.
So that was a transition period. So I think just that understanding, that nurturing, wanting to be able to talk and say, okay, here's what I'm going through. This is what I'm trying to accomplish. Can we work together on this?
Right.
So communication was important to
Yes,
you.
huge.
Definitely respect, love is important. There has to be understanding that we're in this together.
Right.
And also, the Bible talks about the wife. When God looked at Adam and saw he was working and what have you, said it's not good for man to be alone. I'm going to make for him a helper, help So the role of the woman in marriage, biblically speaking, is to be a helper. Now that doesn't mean it's a submissive role. I mean, not a what is it? A role of hierarchy.
Yes,
It's not
exactly.
like it's less than. It's less important. It's just as important in marriage.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a hierarchy with your wife being a helper.
Right.
That's So you just want someone that you want someone that's going to be supportive. That's going to be a helper. Provide you emotional support, love. All of that's important in a marriage, and the woman that you are marrying. Yeah,
Okay.
You want to make sure. I would say you want to look for some qualities in a woman that's going to strengthen your family.
Yes.
Strengthen your family,
Yes.
and you have to be on the same page. Okay?
Yes.
And even if you disagree with some aspects of my role, you should be able to talk it out. Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna throw something out here that's
Here comes the throw.
controversial. Okay.
Mr. Controversy.
In the church, it seems like the pastors do more of catering to women, and this is my opinion, than to be able to establish a ground and a foundation for what a woman's role is. So I would say that it's more like we're not going to really dig into what a woman is supposed to be in depth, but we're going to acknowledge, as because the church is mostly women, we're going to acknowledge what a man's role is supposed to be. We're going to acknowledge if a man is not in the family, this is the things that he should be doing. And it seems to me that it's kind of looked over for what a woman's role is supposed to be, or it's surfaced. We're talking about a helpmate in the home.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about a leader in the home, just as well as the man. From what I understand now about how this is supposed to, how it's supposed to work, and that a man is over the home. A woman's bring warmth to the home. She brings the security, the love. She's the nurturer of the children. She's the woman that is not only with the prayer partner, but she's alongside her husband as a prayer warrior for her kids. She acknowledges the foundation of her husband, and she not only acknowledges it, but she agrees with it. That means the submission part. That she nurtures the kids the way both parents are supposed to nurture that. A lot of that is overlooked in the depth of it. I think it's more surface. What would you say about that?
Well, describe what you mean by pastors cater to the women.
I mean, they're saying, more of that is not being taught in that area of saying, hey, you know what? This is something that women alongside with men should be. Mm-hmm. These are the roles of a woman's that is in the Christian family. These are the roles, and it goes deeper than that.
Are you looking for that teaching on a Sunday? Are you looking for that in
any day
in a Bible study?
Any day.
So, well, let's break down a Sunday. As a pastor's going to give a word. Okay, it may not be that specific topic, and you have women's ministry, you have men's ministries that talk about those things. So I'm just trying to figure out why you're saying these pastors.
I'm saying in a whole, maybe behind closed doors, because I don't see that part.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I would say on a Sunday. Let's just say on a Sunday when we're talking about a man or a woman's role. Mm-hmm. I see more women that are in the church, mm-hmm. and I see that sometimes it can be catered more of overlooking a woman's role. And I'm just saying it's not all the time. I'm not saying this is the status quo. I'm saying this is from my point of view.
Okay.
And that is the question that I'm asking. Do you think that is that the case? Do you think that we're overlooking the depth of what a woman is supposed to be in the home?
I mean, my short answer is no.
Okay.
I think, from my experience, if there's been a topic or a sermon on a household, whether it's a male, it's obviously a balanced message. I don't see I haven't seen a message that talks about, that caters, quote unquote, caters to women. I've heard messages that deal with that's a balance. It's not taking one side or the other. So that's my experience.
I think also it's kind of a societal thing, not necessarily at church. You'll see where these conversations are being had in society at large, and sometimes that bleeds into the church by way of individuals having conversations. Like, I don't know that I've ever specifically felt that there was a pastor who was just like beating up on one male or what, just going at them, but like ignoring the other side. I don't know that I've ever specifically felt that, like in a sermon.
So you don't think there's catering to
well, and again, that's what I'm saying. I don't feel like the pastor in that capacity of preaching has necessarily done that, but I do feel like a lot of the attitudes bleed over from culture at large into the things we're having at church, right?
Okay.
So the individuals bring that up, but it's not necessarily institutional attitude.
Yeah,
like this is our direction.
Right. Yeah, this is our direction.
Okay.
All of the pastors, it's like a broad swipe of this is what pastors are doing. I just don't see that.
Okay. Again, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that this is my point of view of what I am seeing. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that they're
maybe you need to change churches.
Oh my God. There you go. So, the woman's role.
Yeah,
we're talking about how she is supposed to be. What about God fearing? How is a woman role with her children when it comes to being in the house?
Man, there's so much going on in the Bible about raising children, but I think too. Let's go back to something we said in a few episodes ago. I don't really remember which one it was, but basically, we are trying to replicate the image of God.
Yeah.
As individuals, and then again as a family.
Right.
And so, you have to have God first if you're going to duplicate these attributes in your children. God has to be first, and then there has to be agreement on exactly how you do that. I mean, there's nothing in the Bible that says your life has to look like and just line it up, right? Because I mean, if it was, that would be too easy. But it's not there like that. The Bible talks about outcomes mostly. These are the outcomes you're trying to achieve. This is what God is looking for when He looks at His church, right? And then there's a number of ways we can go about that. But if we don't put God first on an individual level, there's no way we can come together as a family and expect to get anything done.
You open up the discussion, Brian, about some different subject matters, and you said helper partner.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have any Bible basis for that characteristics?
Yeah. I mean, Genesis is my go-to. Genesis 2:18, and it's clear. I mean, it says that the woman is created to be a helper. Now, I think in that sense, I don't want to say it's a subservient role.
Right.
It's a helper. Helper is someone, and if you get into the study of the original Hebrew, it's like one who comes along beside.
Right. I was gonna say
it's not a, I'm the guy at the top and you're down here. It's you're beside each other, shoulder to shoulder. So in that sense, we're helper. The woman is a helper and a partner.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me just. I mean, I wrote some notes because I knew.
Go ahead.
I knew this was going to be a topic.
So you're saying that the wife is equal?
Yeah. I mean, and let's look at it this way. I think you have the idea, meaning that there are roles, and the role of a leader is not saying that the leader is greater than anybody else. See, I mean, this is old school right here, but how many of us have heard about servant leadership?
Servant leadership.
I mean, come on.
Leadership.
So just because you're a leader doesn't mean you're above.
Right.
So I don't think it's contradictory in any way to say that the woman stands beside her husband, but can also submit to her husband. There's a role, right? So the husband's role is leadership.
Yeah.
That's a role. That's not hierarchy.
It's not a kingship.
Yeah,
dictatorship.
It's go ahead.
So,
Go ahead.
Let me bring in 2:18.
Go ahead.
You know, it said 2:18. You know, God is speaking. He said, "This is not good
Mhm.
that the man should be alone."
Mhm.
And God goes on to say, "I will make him a helper fit for him." And I wrote down here, helper does not imply inferiority or subservice.
Yes.
Rather, it conveys a strong partnership role, as the same word, and is used to describe God as our helper. Psalm 33:20. This indicates that a wife is a complementary and supportive partner for her husband. So, why are you looking at me crazy? This indicates.
I think we're dancing. I think we're going to go to this area where we're going to dance around the truth.
No, let's listen to.
Go ahead.
Listen to the sentence again. Okay,
I'm listening.
This indicates that a wife is a complementary and supportive partner to her husband. That's nothing controversial. That's just what it is. Help.
What's help? Let's define. Let's dig deeper.
Okay, well, you tell me what help is.
Okay,
help to me
means-
is pretty
Okay,
self-explanatory.
I don't really.
Helper.
Brian is saying that she's equal. You're saying that she's a helper.
Complementary.
Complementary.
Partnering.
Yeah, I think that, again.
So let me ask this question really quick.
Go ahead.
Does God value men more than women?
No.
Then they're equal. I mean, and that's how I'm saying it.
Okay.
There's roles that we gotta talk about, and as a man, you have the role of leadership. But if God doesn't value men more than women, then they are equal.
Okay.
Ooh. Yeah.
I would say this. I think that when it comes to
I'm looking up a Bible verse, so
go ahead.
Yeah.
When it comes to a man's role and a woman's role in the marriage, I think the target is God. I think the teaching is God. Okay. But a woman is coming from a different area. She's giving a different outlook. The man who is supposed to be the head of the household is given a different outlook.
Okay.
The spirituality of the man oversees the house.
Okay. I'm with you so far. I'm agreeing. So.
Who's in the house? The woman and the children.
Who's in the house?
Who's in the house? The women and the children. The family. The women and the children.
Okay. Is a man in the house?
The man. Okay. Did you hear what I said?
I probably missed it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
You need to start listening.
Run it back.
So he is the leader of the house.
Okay.
And in the house is the woman and children.
Okay.
The submission is where we are. I say we tiptoe around the submission. I think we talked about a man leadership role and how that leadership role is supposed to look like. And if that leadership role is there, the woman is supposed to submit not only to God, but to submit to her husband in the cycle of them joining two different individuals, a female viewpoint, a man's viewpoint. She's understanding that he is the head of the household. She submits to him. She is a helper, okay? But what we tend to do is we tend to actually give the same values as a area of combativeness. that means that she has the exact principles, outlook, leadership, and those values. And we kind of cross paths with that till you don't know which one is which, because we're talking about, she's a helper, and you're talking about, she's just like this. No. And that's really not the case.
Let's go back and look at this though, because I think, this is where this is really important to have this little discussion, because we're really talking about the meaning of words. I agree with just about everything you've said.
Just about.
Just about. But the thing is, none of that has anything to do with equality. See, what we're saying
has everything to do with equality.
No, listen.
Equality.
Men and women were created equal. Men and women were not created with the same roles.
Exactly.
So, for example, have you ever worked a 9-to-5 job ever in your life?
Yeah.
Okay. Then you had to submit, did you not? You had to learn to submit. We don't like that word, but did you or did you not?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So we had to submit to somebody else. Were you inferior to that person?
I didn't like it, but yes.
You were inferior. You would say you were inferior to the boss. Your position may have been lesser, but you as a person, your value was reduced because you had to submit to them.
If you want to put it that way, man, yeah, I guess.
And I would disagree with that. I guess that's where I'm coming from. Your value is given to you by God. Your submission is a role you play. Submission does not reduce your value. God has valued you and already created you to be a certain thing, and then he's given you a role.
How do you view submission? Do you view submission as a?
Are y'all targeting me now?
No. I just.
But you got the standout viewpoint. So we're going back
in your view. Yeah. Does that mean the man is over the woman? I mean,
yes.
Okay. All right. Let me rephrase the question.
If you rephrase it.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Does the man should the husband submit to his wife?
Yes.
Okay. So when you're submitting,
doesn't mean they're equal. There's different submissions.
Okay. So So explain what the woman's submission is.
My viewpoint is the woman's submission is based upon the goals of the man, that she agrees with their values, their future, how they represent themselves in public, how they raise their children, their spirituality, sexuality, their an area of understanding, this is my husband and I am his helper in that area. That means that, we're going to have a discussion. And you know what? At the end of it all, I am comfortable enough to be in a safe space to be able to give him my viewpoints. But I know at the end of the day, he has the last say. And I would submit to that if that ever were to occur.
In other words, she would go along with the decision.
With the decision.
Yes.
Okay. A man submission is not to be what we call, and I'm about to get into this, an area of an egotistical, my way or the highway type person. His submission towards his wife is that he acknowledges his wife, her decisions, her comments, some of the things that she might have to install a healthier environment for their relationship, for their spirituality. She's a leader, not someone who sits behind. He acknowledged her as a leader in the area of certain areas where we're talking about, well, let's say about the finances. Babe, you know what? This month we're going to cut back on going out. Okay, babe, that's cool. We'll do that. She is in an area, or he is in an area of acknowledging her as being a source of a helper for the overall picture of what he's doing. And that is to provide and to be a leader for the family. So he acknowledges her to a point, and then he acknowledges her when it comes to her value, what she does. And he brings a safe place for her to be able to talk, to be able to communicate, and they have that communication. So there's two different types of submission.
Okay. All right.
Man, that's a lot of dancing around, dude. I hear you. I hear you, man. I guess what I'm saying
dance.
is we could make it simple though. It's so easy. You know, like for example, and this is gonna be a weird comparison.
I think we sugarcoat it.
No.
What are we sugarcoating?
I think we sugarcoat a lot when it comes to
What are we sugarcoating?
Okay, because what you're saying is that okay, she's a helpmate with no definition of really how does that supposed to work. I could tell any woman, you know what, you're a helpmate, and you know what, if she's masculine or she's been working 2 or 3 jobs, she has 3 kids, she's not going to see that as what you're a helpmate. I'm a what? Only thing I'm doing is this. I mean, you have to be more direct and in depth of what we're actually discussing when it comes to that.
Well, look at it this way. I think number one, you're assuming an antagonistic approach,
Right.
where as a man and as a woman, you should be choosing someone who is aligned with where you are.
True that.
And so, as a single person, you don't have to submit to any other individual until you have chosen to come together with them in that marriage, right?
It's all by choice, yes.
So again, woman sees this guy over here, they're not married. She's like, oh, it's cool and everything, but nah. And you can just keep it moving, right? It's totally your right. Nothing he says affects you. But at the point in time you choose that person, then you come together and it should be a matter of submission. But again, I contend that's a matter of roles. It doesn't mean that person is of a lesser value, and that's what I'm talking. When I say equality, I've been saying it the whole time. It's
The
about
value is the same.
value.
The
The
value
value.
is
of the
okay.
people
If you
are
would have
the
said
same.
that from the beginning,
No, I mean I have been though.
No.
The value of the people is the same. I said remember this? I said God has established your value. I said that.
You did.
Well,
I didn't take it that way.
Right? But he's given us
that
each.
alpha male.
He's
Not
given
for
us
men.
each
godly
different
man.
roles.
Oh Lord.
So I ain't gonna deny that. But he gave
That
us
was
each
shots
different-
fired, people. That was shots fired.
But he gave us each different roles, and that's what. And so that's what I'm saying. The value of the individual. When I say equality, the value that God established for men and women is the same.
Right.
You're right.
The roles he gave men and women are different, and should each
There we go.
man and woman should respect the other's role.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we were actually trying to get to the same target, but yeah, what I heard was that there was a different area, as in being in an area where the value is the same. I get what you're saying now. Yes, because a woman has a strong value, but when it comes to the roles, they're coming from 2 different. God made Eve differently than what he made Adam. He made Adam first. And he gave Adam a dominion over the areas of the calling out the name of the animals,
Sure.
and everything else. So Adam was already at work before Eve showed up on the scene.
You bring up he was at work. He was doing something.
Yes.
So a woman should be looking for a man that's already doing something. You know, when you look at that narrative about when God gets to the point where it says it's not good for man to be alone, okay, and then he said, I'm going to make for him a helper or helpmate. God saw that the man was exercising his role that he designed man to be. All right. In other words, marriage comes or you should be doing something before the woman comes along. You should be doing something.
But are we talking about the man or the woman?
No,
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Go ahead.
I'm just going back to, when God basically established marriage.
Yes.
Okay. Look at what Adam was doing, because we're not out here naming animals. Right?
Are you naming an animal?
No, we're not naming animals. The principle of that scripture is when God said it's not good for man to be alone, what was the man doing? He was working.
Mm-hmm.
He was taking care of his responsibilities, his God-given responsibilities. Okay? And so the principle is, even for a woman who's quote unquote wants a husband, she has some I don't want to use the word culpability, but because culpability is kind of negative, but she should look for a man. Women say they want to be married. Okay. Every man that comes towards her may not be the one that she should be married, just because it's a man. All right. But she should have some checkoffs You know, hey,
For sure.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, what is your vision? Because if I get with you, you know, I'm going to ride with your vision, whether either by default, okay, or by choice, okay. So you would hopefully the one that's going to look for, be attracted to a man who has certain qualities, certain responsibilities. They know where they're going. You know, and I'm speaking about a perfect type of situation.
I'm about to ask you, is that today's woman? Because we talked about that with men.
And so I would, is that today's woman?
Yeah. Do you see that type of woman who's like everything that we've talked about in the spiritual guidance in the home, that she's submissive, she has a connection with God, she's a leader in the family, she's a nurturer to her husband, she can give her husband mental health, and we're going to get into that mental health when it comes to the Christian family. We need to open that door up as well, but she's able to be that foundation as a helpmate. Do you see that strongly in the Christian community when it comes to the woman's role?
The woman's role.
Yeah, and I went like this
The
because I want you to answer that question.
Okay,
you know, because a lot of people want to know this answer. Is that in today's?
Don't put me on the spot.
Mr. Tahimba?
Well, I'll say this, that as I've been discussing this topic, you know, I have been thinking of or trying to present an ideal position. Okay.
Safe, ideal.
Ideal.
Safe.
Ideal.
Okay.
Ideal.
A safe
position.
idea.
You can call it safe. I'm just saying an ideal position.
Stay safe.
Knowing that, you know, we are human, women are human, men are human, and if a woman, a woman who wants to be married, you know, hopefully, she'll be looking at those things that I talked about. The man having a role, knowing where he's going, having a direction for his life and for the family that he would create with her.
I disagree.
You disagree with what?
What you just said.
What did I just say?
You said hopefully that she would have these values in a man.
I said
right?
hopefully. I said hopefully.
Okay.
Hopefully. That's the ideal situation. I also said that we are human. The woman is human, the male is human. And so because the man may not necessarily have all those roles.
So she
may choose someone who does not fit with what she desires.
So she is looking for these roles in a man. I would suggest that she actually looks for the roles that she understands herself first.
Absolutely.
I think she should have a connection with God. She should know her foundation, her family values. I think she should be on one accord of what she's looking for.
Sure.
So therefore, when she understands who she is and what God is directing her to be and to be in the family, that man will come in an area where she will see that man.
Yes. From
God's point of view. Not just be on the house. Okay, I'm looking. If this guy got this and this and this, and you know what, he's right for me. That will never happen. Because if she's not spiritually grounded or mentally grounded for marriage, she's just going to be destroying something that she is not capable of being able to.
What's she gonna be destroying?
A marriage.
I say we look at it like this. I mean, it
has to be. I just want to clean this up.
Yeah, clean it up.
I want to clean this up because what you're saying is, again, we're always looking at the man. We're always looking at his role. And yes, his role is very, very important. But what we skip over is how a woman is supposed to be in looking for a man.
Well, but look, it's
And
not an
you
either
just
or.
skipped over that.
It's not an either
No, it's
or.
not either
It's a
or.
both and.
Well,
I mean,
like,
you have
well,
to
go ahead and clean it up,
it's-
because what you just said,
No,
is, I agree with this.
First of all, I said an ideal situation.
I agree with the
I
first
said
part.
ideal. I said ideal situation.
Okay, that's your ideal situation.
So the Bible, what does it say about in the Bible? It says, "He that findeth a wife finds a good thing." That's a scripture. He that findeth a wife finds a good thing.
That's surface.
No, it's not surface. It's biblical.
It's biblical,
Okay,
but
hold
yet,
on,
okay,
hold on.
where are you going to go with
It's
that?
biblical.
Where are you going with that?
Well, if you would allow me to continue,
Go ahead.
instead of just breaking in and interrupting me, you'll see where I'm trying to go. He that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. Okay, that actually scripture, even though it's talking about the man being the seeker and the one who's choosing a wife,
Right.
There's also there's a message in it for the wife, is that the wife or the woman who wants to be married, she is taking the time to be the quote unquote the good thing. She wants to make sure that she has the qualities that will she has the qualities that will be attractive to the godly man who is looking for a woman.
The alpha man.
Okay, there you go with the alpha beta stuff. You know. So really,
the alpha woman sees the alpha man.
You may not understand this. We actually are saying the same things. Okay, it just takes you a little bit longer to catch up to my genius.
The short bus comes in a little late.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, to your point, I think every individual should focus on being who God called them to be.
There we go.
But
amen.
I will say, the Bible says, study to show yourself approved. You need to know the qualities of the other person that you're looking for. There's a reason why the Bible tells you what a woman should look like and what a man should look like.
It does.
Women need to know what a good man looks like, and men need to know what a good woman looks like. And so while you work on yourself, be aware of what a good woman or man looks like, so that you can avoid the bad ones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not that, I don't think it's that we're trying to point the finger at the other party. It's just saying, hey, while you get yourself in order, here's what you need to be aware of.
And you dodged that bullet. Don't think that. don't think our viewers. He dodged the bullet.
I didn't dodge a bullet.
I laid it out and I put it in his lap, and he diluted it and watered it down, and then now we're talking about back to the surface stuff.
Well, Brian, we're gonna have women in our next podcast, right? To talk.
We definitely gonna have somebody come up.
And right, because we what we've been talking about. This is our point of view.
It is our point of view.
From our perspective, we did we did sprinkle into our discussion what the Bible says. So, yes, where we go from here? On the next podcast.
The podcast, we're going to be talking about the spirituality.
No, I'm talking about the women. We want to bring in some women.
We're going to bring in some women, but we're going to. Should we put that on the next podcast or?
Sure. At some later, we said
a later date.
Bring it in. We're going to bring whether it's the follow up to this one, or we'll do it at a later date. But we don't want to leave this family framework for the family podcast talking about this very important topic about the role of the woman without actually having some women in here to give their perspective.
Yes.
Because we don't want to be seen as antagonistic and at all. I don't think we were antagonistic.
I don't even know why you even said that, but
that's because sometimes you drift over.
Oh my God! Okay.
No. But anyway,
it's my journey.
It's your journey.
It's my journey.
It's your journey. That's right. You are on a journey.
I'm on a journey. I want to be.
Did you fall off the bridge?
Mercy.
Okay.
We like it.
So our next podcast, we're going to be talking about the Christian faith. How does spirituality, how does that help the Christian family? What is the some of the bonuses or the things that we have that praying with your spouse and what does that contribute to the family with the children? What does that foundation look like of a praying family? So I guess
we're gonna have a pastor talk about that.
we're gonna have some people that is.
We're gonna have a pastor.
We're gonna have a pastor.
Okay.
And we're gonna talk about that in our next podcast. So you want to take us out?
Hey, you've been listening to the Framework for the Family. We want you to hit that like button.
Yes, hit the like button.
We want you to subscribe.
Subscribe.
And we also want some comments. You know, we like to address our viewers. And so, whether it's something you think is, we said something wrong or controversial, and you want to put your comments in on that particular area of the podcast, we welcome it. And so we'll see you the next time. Framework for the Family.
Bye.